Yes, but it's on pause.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I'm calling the meeting to order. Hopefully Dee will come on soon and she can take minutes because I suck at it. Not gonna lie. All right, so I'm calling the meeting over 7:30. All right, I did send the minutes out a short while ago. If anybody has any questions, I don't know if I can share it on here. Peep in your, hey Gary, peep in your email and just look at them. I think I captured the gist of it. Nothing too complicated. If you want to just take a quick peek at those and we can get those approved. I'll give you a minute to do that. Those were June 29th minutes. Okay. I mean, they're pretty short. All right. Can I get a motion to approve minutes from June, please? Anyone? You can just raise your hand too. Can I get a motion, please, from anybody? Okay, Priscilla. Second.
I still can't find it. Oh, there.
Anyone seconding? It's a process. Jane, can you second? Second, okay. Well, please. All right. So we have Priscilla and Jane. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, groovy. Bill McLean, our good friend Bill, is here to present on holiday plans. So Bill, if you want to just talk to us about what you have in mind and maybe what kind of budget you're looking for. We do have some money this year, so we can, I'll shed some light on me so I don't look like I'm hiding in the dark. If you'd like, you can ask for additional budget. So kind of ask for what you need, what you want. If you want to go big, great. I guess what we want to do is include the business district. So both Cornwall Bridge and West Cornwall. And if there's any other businesses that want to be highlighted, then we need to be aware of that. Bill, the floor is yours, my friend.
Okay. Perfect timing. My son just came in. Hi, I'm on this. I guess a few things. So I'm sort of not a great sort of budgeter. I think that the core budget will be based off of what was allotted last year.
I think that was $300, Bill. So
no. So in other words, yeah, but I put in receipts that exceeded that, right?
Okay,
So
yeah. And we did. I think it ended up. Yeah, help remind me. Did that end up about $600?
900, I think.
I think it was around. I think it was
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
$1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that
geez,
is
what do
that.
I know?
And
Okay.
that was fundamentally for mounting materials, printed program materials.
Yes.
The cards that you would sort of take around, the stickers, the that material. Sorry, and then you sort of the mounting hardware, sort of some wood. Although we got a lot of wood donated by the fellow who owns the old bookstore, so that was nice.
That was William.
And yeah, he was great. He was a big help. So I'm assuming a good core number this year to maybe make things a little easier might be around $1,200 would be my guess. Now that would be for an equivalent product to last year.
Yep.
There's several of the artists who did last year are interested again. There's a couple of new artists that are interested. That call went out only today. And I suspect that we will be able to certainly fill 12 slots. One question is, are we going to try to expand that theme or change that theme?
Okay.
My thinking currently, and I'm obviously up for suggestions, My thinking currently is to kind of keep with the same theme, but change the artists and sort of move things around. I think that 12 is a number of windows that is sort of achievable in terms of mounting and getting enough artists to do it. And also, I think it's probably a good number for the sort of walk around museum legs fatigue element, where, if we had 25 windows, I'm not sure if anybody would really be.
I would agree.
Interesting.
I would agree.
So, and I think that, what's nice about the 12 days of Christmas is that it is both traditional, but also fairly secular. So I think it sort of pleases most people on that front.
Okay.
So anyway, I think that there's a sort of a couple of things that, let's talk about Cornwall Bridge in a second. So focusing on West Cornwall again, I think that a couple of things sort of came up in the experience last year. One was, it would be nice to kind of encourage somehow, or maybe even help with general town decorations. So it was a very sort of dark town last year in terms of general Christmas lights. It would be nice if we could find a way to either encourage or supplement sort of general Christmas lights, basically, around some of the other buildings. I know Bianca did a great job on her place, but there's a lot of buildings on that stretch. And I bet that the bike guy would be up for it. I bet that the three guys would be up for doing something like that. I don't know if if John's place is going to be up and running yet. Does anybody know?
John who?
Ben Doran.
Oh, I haven't gotten a hold of Jeff yet, but that's on my to-do list. So I can find out. But
I just don't know.
I
mean, I can call him too.
Sure.
I just thought of it because that obviously changes sort of the nature of downtown extensively if that opens, right? That becomes a different process. And then what else? I was thinking of, right. So the other thing was that there was a fairly successful opening night for the windows. And I have and it probably would be nice if we could figure out maybe 2 more occasions, during the season where we could have some kind of sort of maybe event. So whether it be, I don't know, hot chocolate night or something like that, to just kind of goose a little bit on a couple of key weekends, which we think could sort of boost attendance. Because it was a nice celebratory atmosphere. I think it worked well. That has been brought up to me. So that would be, so what I'm quoting as sort of the 1200 does not include this other stuff.
Okay.
And that is not stuff that I'm able to sort of price out, but it's something I want to sort of make people aware of. And then, sorry, my cat is also very excited here. Chris. And then, I think those are sort of the big things. There was, I had some discussions with Libby, who runs the library, he was not run it, but it's whatever she does.
Libby Mitchell is the executive director.
Yeah, there you go. So and this is something that's more ambitious, and I'm not advocating it, although I think it's a nice idea. It may be beyond what's possible, but to have a couple of evenings closer to Christmas where we would have some kind of like Santa meet and greet, such like they have in that Christmas village in Torrington. I think there's a big draw if kids can meet Santa. That tends to be sort of, one of the seminal things that everybody wants to do around Christmas, certainly for families. And I think that could be a big draw, but.
Is that like bad Santa or
that
like?
Is, but that is a whole nother prospect, right? That's a whole nother kind of thing.
Okay.
So now as it relates to Cornwall Bridge, right? This particular, the sort of the windows, which I think is great. And I already talked to 3 guys. They're going to give a window. I forget their names and I shouldn't, I'm such an idiot, but the guys who live right next to the library, they're going to give us one of their windows.
Don, Tom,
Yeah, they're going to give one of, and they've got those nice bay windows.
Cool.
So, I think that we're going to have great venues this year. And I think that what makes it really tailored for West Cornwall is that West Cornwall is very walkable. I do not think that we want to encourage people walking around Cornwall Bridge, fortunately. It's basically 3 highways. So it doesn't strike me that this is the right kind of experience for Cornwall Bridge.
do you think that maybe we could do like early evening, meet Santa kind of thing in Cornwall Bridge perhaps, and coordinate with the general store or something like that?
Yes. So I think that Cornwall Bridge is certainly up for something else.
Okay.
They've got that sort of nice big triangle, right? And I know it has the tree on it, but there might be,
Isn't there?
maybe there's something that could be done there that's a little sort of elevated. I was talking with Gordon a little bit, very, very, ad hoc, about maybe doing some kind of like some kind of maze, like a stacked hay bale maze.
A stacked what?
So in other words, if you have hay bales, right?
Oh, hay bale. Okay, yeah.
Stack them 2 or 3 high, that is plenty enough to create a maze for younger kids.
Yep.
And you wouldn't have to sort of run out, and they would be contained. So you'd be able to sort of run around, but it would be a totally contained space. And then you would have one area where you would do the crossing onto that midway.
Okay.
It's a theory. It was extremely, it was just like, hey, what about this if Cornwall Bridge wants something?
Okay.
Do you know offhand if the store to the left, as you're facing at the store front to the left of the Housatonic Outfitters is still open and unrented? I know it was for a while.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
Just
That would be a
because
nice, that would be a nice place to meet Santa.
Okay, sure.
That's a cute storefront. It's there's parking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it's
They're trying to
Bianca,
sell that. I guess they're trying to sell that building.
Yeah, I
So-
can talk to Harold about that.
Okay, you want to talk to Harold about that? Okay.
Who's Harold?
He owns that store.
Okay. Is that shared with, is it the same guys? They're trying to rent half of it? Is that the idea?
He owns the whole space. He owns the whole, the Housatonic River Outfitters, that entire space.
Okay. Do they rent from him or?
No, he owns
That's
that
him.
business. That's him,
Got
yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's been
Yeah.
around for a long time.
All
Okay.
right, if you can talk to Harold, that would be great.
I
Bianca.
will.
Thank you.
I mean, if everybody sort of likes this idea, I don't really know, there's a certain, that is a separate budget, right? So what you would need is, I think in order to make it a Cornwall version of this, right? Because I think that the worst thing you could do is sort of have a non-Cornwall version of something, and sort of I already sort of, got Lori to sort of semi-agree to do a nice, interesting period Santa costume if we could find the right person to do it. And then we would need to set dress that room. So whatever room we're,
Well, why don't we let Bianca talk to Harold, and then we can talk, Lori can perhaps put together some budget for that. Because what
yeah,
we're
I mean,
doing
she could
is-
do it. I could, yeah. I mean, set dressing is a little different, but we could come up with something.
Okay.
I think we could do something clever.
Okay.
Bianca, what are we just gonna?
So also, they always have the tree lighting down there. So maybe, the tree lighting could already sort of introduce further down weekend where you could do that. Or have also meet Santa right at that time too.
When does,
Utilize the space. I don't know. I think they always do that at the beginning.
It's usually the
Of
first
the
Saturday in
season.
December, maybe, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. I think one of the first Advent, I think.
I
that's
mean,
when they do that.
I think that, last year, and I think this year as well, look, everybody's up for Thanksgiving anyway. So I
Yeah.
think opening on that Thanksgiving weekend is you're just blowing it, right? Because you've already got people there. You know, you've already got your crowd there. So what you want to do is try to get people there from the 5th until the 25th, right? Because then start the weekend of the 21st, I think this year, then everybody's up anyway, right? Then, you know, so it's really that kind of ghost period, you know, where it would be nice to get people to come up for the weekend to Connecticut, you know, or to Cornwall to see Santa in an interesting, different way than, you know, I think if we're smart about it, I think that there are, you know, going into Macy's, even today, even if they have Santa this year, which I don't know if they're going to do. I'm sure there's some announcement already about it. You know, like, you know, that's like a crowd fest, right? Who knows if kids are going to be vaccinated by that? You know, nobody knows. So I think the idea to have some kind of Santa meet and greet that's smart in that way and less crowded, you know, might be a good way to do it.
A fully vaccinated Santa.
It is also, yeah, it is also possible that is an experience that you could charge for, although I think we should tread that a little gingerly.
Okay. Well, these are great ideas. I just thought of something, you know, Santa, you know, we could have, you know, somebody giving out the little flyers for where you could buy Christmas gifts locally too.
Perfect.
So you have the vendors and they could have, you know, like a little blurb about what they have to, you know, to offer the public. So we could put together a wee little thing like that, which would be nice. And Santa could give it out and just say to buy something locally or I won't come see you. A little pressure
Where
campaign.
Santa shops in Cornwall, right?
A bitter Santa, why not?
And it's all the liquor store, right?
What? Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Yeah, we could have it at the liquor store.
Yeah.
Give kids samples. It'll be great. Okay, well, that'll make
you know, I mean, you know, I think that, you know, this kind of stuff can get theme park very quickly, and I just do not think is the sort of the energy for Cornwall. And I think that if it presents with that energy, I think the kind of people who know Cornwall already are not going to go for it. So I think you know, we have to do something that's, you know, a little artsy. Honestly, I hate to say it. I know that sounds stupid in a way, but something that's just a little different and not what you can get in other places. Now, what that is I don't really know yet. So, but we can think about it and get the right people involved. And
Okay, great. I think that's why I like where you're going with that. Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Bill? Okay. So if you don't mind, yeah, if you and Bianca can get some more information, and then maybe if you can come back next month and present your budget, that we can get that approved so you can move forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can give you West Cornwall at 1,200 now. I think that's
Okay.
I think that's a safe budget.
Okay, well, we're putting together a whole budget. We're going to approve everything at once. So if we can just get your budget put together, we can also, you know, kind of leave ourselves a little bit of room, you know, to approve that.
Yeah.
Because we have other line items.
And in that budget, I mean, we can sort of deal with an anticipatory, you know, payback for, you know, if in fact there's going to be any revenue generated for any of this stuff directly. Which again, I'm not sure of.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like something you should charge for. I mean, Macy's doesn't charge you anything.
No, they charge you $20 for the photo.
Oh, that's right.
So,
Okay.
you know, it is not a zero-sum game for this kind of stuff. And, you know, in Torrington, I believe there's an entry fee. There's an entry for that village. And that line, I mean, you know, you go there on a Sunday, I mean, you're waiting 2 hours to see Santa Claus. So I think that it is rife for an alternative experience, you know.
Okay. Yeah, well, we can talk about that a little bit, just figure out, I mean, 'cause it would certainly be wonderful for social media to have, you know, someone taking photographs there. You know, that kind of stuff is just fantastic. We'd have to get permission from people if we were going to use anything. But that's
Yeah, I mean, people could, if you want your picture taken, you could do, we could work all that.
Okay.
That's those are not big obstacles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Bill, thank you so much. If
All
you
right.
want to hang out, you're welcome to. If you want to scoot, that's cool too.
All right. What else? Is it exciting?
It's terribly exciting. Better than anything you're going to see on television. I can promise you.
All right.
If you go
I
play
know that-
video games.
I know that Caroline Wardachuk sent out a memo to everybody to come join and
Nice.
listen. So,
All right.
all right.
Thanks, Bill.
I'm probably not going to stay, but
That's okay.
okay.
No,
Then I'll talk to Bianca and you guys individually.
Cool.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. All right, so just a quick note, if you are, if you're off, you can be off camera if you want to be, but you do have to be identified by your real name. So whoever is 646-326-1153, if you can either put your real name or show up on camera, those are the options. So I have someone who is not identified. So if you can't identify yourself, we're going to have to boot you. I'll give you a couple seconds to figure out how to do that. All right. Let's see. Communications were internal, and I included those in the minutes. Treasurer's report, Kate is not here. All right, hang on a second. Bear with me 2 seconds. Let's see. Okay. Okay. And if whoever ADF is, if you can please put your real name. I'll give you a couple seconds to do that, please.
I'm sorry about that. I don't know why that's showing up without my.
Oh, is that Arnon?
Yeah.
Okay, Arnon, that's fine. As long as I know who it
Okay.
is.
Okay. Here we go. I got that.
Yeah, you just have to be identified by your name.
There we go.
But there you go. Thank you very much. Okay. Treasurer's report. So we do have $6,195 to spend this year. So we need to be putting together our budget. So one of the things I did want to get the report from Bill and just find out what he needed. I have a couple of things that I wanted to do. I know that Jane and Bianca both had things that they wanted to talk about. So let's be putting together our budget items. I'd like to get that done over the next couple weeks so that we can vote on it in October and get moving forward. I know there's a few things we're going to approve tonight if possible too. Let's see. I don't know if there's anything okay. Whoever is an iPad, please identify yourself. And if you don't identify yourself, I'll have to remove you. So please put your real name. Okay. Is it possible for you to give any kind of report on water and septic or P&Z since Gordon's not here, Priscilla?
Just unmute herself.
Yes, unmute yourself.
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Good, okay. Well, we have had to delay any public comment about the septic because although we have been promoted by one of our representatives, the budget's been held up. So when we had a meeting recently, we decided we had to wait and we probably won't know about that until the spring. Everything looks favorable, but we don't have the money yet.
Okay.
And it doesn't appear that we will officially know more until late December or into the spring. So at our Board of Selectmen meeting, we decided to postpone any further conversation until the spring on that because we can't do anything without the money. Beyond that, I don't have any P&Z reports. I sit in on what's going on, but I don't represent them. So there's nothing I could really say on that regard. I do think that there's a nice spirit right now. When I'm driving around, it's fall. We have more people coming in through the covered bridge. Our electric bike company in West Cornwall has been a wonderful new improvement. They are friendly, they are encouraging people to come from other places. I see a lot of bikes when I drive over every day on West Cornwall Road to Sharon. So I see much more movement there with bikes, and I like it. I like it because the people seem to be friendly, they wave. It's a nice, spirited, warm feeling, which is, I think, what we like
Exactly.
to have in Cornwall.
Excellent. Yeah,
Okay.
the three guys also said that they've had, they've gone 6 times beyond their expected revenue.
Good.
Yeah, so they're super happy. And they're already hiring. So yeah, it's all good news there too. Okay, thank you very much, Priscilla. Appreciate it. Let's see, we'll talk about promoting Cornwall. So the tourism campaign was run during the summer, and the theme was "You haven't been everywhere until you've been here." So we did, there were 5 posts that were done. So this was an organic campaign for this piece of it. So each of the posts reached over 500 people and generated likes and reactions and shares. So we were getting, over 100 likes on each one of these, 50, or so reactions. We were getting shares on each one of them. So clearly, they were resonating with people. For Cornwall, especially West Cornwall, it really does seem like the covered bridge always, and whenever you use that image, it always gets the most attention. I think it's just people know that. If the person who is 672-2622 could identify themselves, please, by your real name. Otherwise, we'll have to remove you, please.
Hello, I think I was muted and I was cut off the call previously.
If you can please put your,
I was cut off. I was removed from the Zoom meeting previously.
can you put your real name up, please? You just have your phone.
Yeah, but actually that's in violation of public meeting requirements, but if you want to.
Okay, so let's see, where were we? So the campaign was very successful.
Hello? Hello, so could you let me into the Zoom meeting?
You are in the Zoom meeting. Okay, so as I was saying, we were, I think this is a very successful campaign. I would like to continue this campaign. Perhaps we could look at doing another round of it and even do some advertising. So that's a topic that I'm going to come back with. Dee and Lee and Arnon and I will talk about that and just come back with some budget for that campaign. Anybody have any questions about that? Jane?
Unmute yourself, Jane.
Can't hear you.
Unmute yourself, Jane.
I'm trying to.
Good.
Okay, there you go. We can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I have all kinds of computer problems here.
No problem at all. It's nice to see you, Jane.
Well, I don't know how to see anybody else.
Oh, no,
Are the
that's
rest-
okay.
Well, I'm looking at a blank screen, but I can hear you. So at any rate, this may be going back for some of you, but because I'm somewhat new to the committee and then we never got together in person to sort things out, I'm a little unclear about what the difference is between some of these different campaigns. Like I know there's a Visit Cornwall, an Explore Cornwall, and then there's this tourism campaign, a separate campaign from those?
So there's really 2 campaigns. Well, there'll be a third one. So the You Haven't Been Everywhere Until You've Been Here is Explore Cornwall. So that's really reaching out to people who are not in Cornwall.
Okay, so that's the same one. Okay. And that's to get people to come to Cornwall and.
Right, exactly. So we're looking at a campaign for by local, and we'll be doing that within Cornwall, probably a little bit outside of Cornwall.
Mm-hmm.
Just because if you're within 20 miles, 15, 20 miles, we could talk about that. Dee and I have been working on that campaign.
So
that
these
will be
are
very
all-
local focused.
Are these primarily Instagram campaigns?
So it's
or-
Facebook, Instagram, and sometimes Twitter if we want to involve the media.
Okay, so it's digital.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
you know what? The print campaigns were too expensive, Jane. To be
Oh,
honest, I mean, even to do, decent size ads in the Lakeville Journal was thousands of dollars.
Yeah, no, I know.
And we can't track anything. I mean, we don't honestly know who's interacted. And with digital, I can get, like all the information.
Yeah, no,
So
I'm
that's
just
the
trying to
thing.
get a grip on the whole, on the sort of the mission of the EDC and how it works, and trying to understand better what the different things are within it. So
Yes.
that's why I wanted to know. So it's going to be 3 campaigns: the Buy Local, the Visit Cornwall, and the Explore Cornwall.
Well, Explore Cornwall. So historically, Explore Cornwall was really for people, we were trying to engage people to move to Cornwall and to open businesses in Cornwall.
Okay,
So the Explore Cornwall website is now under the town site. So
Okay.
it's still called Explore Cornwall, but that's really more engaging people who are either coming to visit, and you don't move here unless you come and visit. I mean, obviously you have to see the place first before you move there. That makes sense. And then the local, the buy local will obviously be for, people in the near vicinity, the towns that are touching Cornwall, to
Right,
come and buy from us locally.
okay, I think I got it.
Yeah. And we can always have a conversation offline too, Jane, if there's,
I know, I'll come by one day. I'll drop by and fill in all my blanks.
I would love that. That would be great. Okay, so that is going to be ongoing. So the committee is going to meet and have a conversation about that. We can come back with recommendations and some budget, because I think we'll do both organic posts and ads. The second most town that we're interacting with obviously is New York City, and that's our target audience that we're trying to involve. Also up into Massachusetts, over into New York State. We try to get the states that are close by. All right. Priscilla, I don't know if you've got anything on housing updates by any chance. I didn't get to go to the housing meeting on Monday. I don't know if you have any thoughts from that. All right, well, we can table that for now. I know that the housing committee has been meeting. There is an upcoming forum in October, so we can, we can hear some more of the details about that. And if I have anything in the meantime, I can always shoot out an email to you guys just to get you updated on that. Okay, Dee, if you're able to, do you want to talk a little bit about the buy local? You and I had been going back and forth on that.
Yeah, so let me just pull it up.
We already approved the logo. So we'd worked on the logo before, so we had that approved.
Right. So I developed 4 ideas with the objective to inspire people to support Cornwall-based retail and services. And one of the things that was really important to me in devising these ideas was to make sure that these ideas built in a way to measure the business that accrued because of the campaign. Because I feel like oftentimes we do these things, we use social media, we use digital, but we don't always track the success. So I came up with 4 ideas. I think, Janet, the one that you preferred was the first one, which was highlighting one local vendor a week. Was it that one?
Exactly.
Yeah, so the idea here is to highlight one retailer or service provider a week on organic and paid social. And so we would do like a little blurb about, meet so-and-so, and we'd offer a discount, like an offer, buy one, get one, or a discount. If the person came, if the reader, the audience, read the ad, came into the person's store or called them for service, they'd be able to get a discount. And that way we would know that it was a direct result of this campaign. And we thought we could maybe do this in concert with the Cornwall website and with the Cornwall Chronicle in order to get more coverage. So that's the kind of sketch of the idea that we haven't really fleshed out yet.
Yeah, so Dee, we'll be meeting in the next couple weeks, just to get that more fleshed out, and, a list of vendors, for each week, especially leading up to the holidays. I think that would be, pretty impactful to be able to do that, leading up into then. So I will send you an email. We'll just plan a time to have a subcommittee meeting.
Yeah.
But great, this is great stuff. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Okay, groovy. Okay. Bianca, you had sent an email about approving a map update budget. It was $109.
So Jane and I had worked out the printed map. It's been distributed. There's a case at Town Hall. Hopefully Gordon took some to the Interlake, and as he promised. I have 2 more full cases at the Wish House because I'm much more accessible right now to the open public to pick up some. If anyone has a place that they think they would like to take these maps and drop them off on their travels, it would be great. I have plenty of them around. But with that, when I refilled the 2 compartments at the kiosks that we have in town, there's one down at the Covered Bridge and there's one down at the Cornwall Country Market. It was evident that there's a large poster in there that needed to be updated too. So I had that done so that, the maps correlate to one another, because it would have been really dumb not to do that. And I had that done at Staples. And the total was the 109, whatever it was,
109
with mounting material. 109.65 with mounting material. So to just finish the whole thing off.
Okay. So you have you have receipts for that?
I have yeah. So should I
Perfect.
just I'll just send that into
Yeah, we just need to get I
Barbara.
just need to get that approved. So
Yes.
what if someone could make a motion to approve the map update budget of $109.65, please? Priscilla, can I get
Motion?
a second, please?
I second it.
Steve? Okay.
Is
All
that
those
for
in
one-
favor?
Is that for one map or for 2 maps?
2 maps.
Thank you.
Okay. So all those in favor of approving reimbursing the map update budget of $109.65, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that is unanimous. All right, Bianca, all you have to do is email Barbara
Right.
Hurst.
I will do that.
Yeah, and just copy me and just say it was approved at
Exactly.
the meeting. That way, if she had the question, she
Exactly.
can,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you. Okay. Jane did have a question about our mission review. And I have all those documents. I've been cleaning out my files, so I've buried it somewhere. But the bottom line is our mission is to attract new businesses to Cornwall and support the businesses that exist in Cornwall. So that's kind of the nickel version of our mission, if you will. And we can, and I can actually show you the original documents, Jane.
Yeah,
We'll set up a time to have a cup of tea or something, and I can show you all that. But that's really what it boils down to. It's attract new businesses, support the existing businesses that are here.
okay. I wasn't clear on how much of it was aimed at attracting people to move here, or whether that's seen as supporting the business, as a corollary to supporting the business.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we looked at it as, if you're, you're trying to attract people who have businesses or could purchase from businesses.
Mhm.
So it's, growing the population of business, the pool of businesses and people who would populate the school and then support the economy as well.
And if I could comment for just a second here now, I was late for this meeting because I was watching, participating in the planning and zoning meeting that's occurring concurrently, started at 7 o'clock. And we had their first application for a major home-based business. This is answering Jane's question. Not that the EDC's impact in this was supporting the new zoning regulations for home-based, major major home-based businesses. That was really the main thing that the EDC's involvement is. But that planning and zoning passed and approved the application by Josh Tyson
Oh, good.
for their, and this is the first application for a home-based business to take place under the new regulations. And that's a positive thing. That's a positive thing for the town of Cornwall and for businesses. This is an existing business, but now has approval to continue to be here. So, Jane, you were asking kind of what was the mission, and one of the missions is to maintain the businesses that are here, and that's, the EDC did that in a small way. I think it was, well, in a major way. I mean, we were supportive of the new regulations. Okay.
Yes, I did write a letter for supporting Josh as well, not as the EDC chair, just as an individual. Okay, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Jane. Okay, one of the other things that we had talked about in previous meetings was having new ideas discussion. So one of the things for budget for next year, you know, we've got budget. I mean, obviously, we'll spend a little bit over the holiday promotion, but we'll probably have another $4,000 to spend. Our website is now all underneath the Cornwall site, so we've saved ourselves $1,000 there. So we have more money to spend as we see fit. So what I'd like to do is see, if there are any new ideas that we have as a group right now. Hang on just a second, Bianca. So if anybody has new ideas that they want to throw on the table now, we can take some notes. But what I'd love to do is start generating this conversation, because if we use it or lose it, so we need to be able to use our budget wisely. But we've been given more budget than last year, so that's even better. So if anybody has any ideas they want to throw out, now's the time to do it.
Just as the fellow newbie with Jane, I just want to go back and try and, I'm still sort of hung up on some of the basics of this. Is there a census of businesses within Cornwall?
We do have a listing of businesses, yes.
So can we have that?
You can go right on the Cornwall website, and that's accessible. There's a business listing.
Right, so that is all of the active businesses that we're trying to support.
That's pretty well updated. We keep updating it. I mean, obviously there's it's kind of an ongoing process, but we went through that process not very long ago.
So we, as the EDC, when we're thinking what businesses we should be supporting, that's the list.
Correct.
Okay. So then the next question is, if the other part of our mission is attracting new businesses, who gets to decide what kinds of businesses we're attracting to Cornwall?
Well, one of the things we did in one of the prior meetings was we had a discussion about that. We talked about what kind of businesses we did want to attract. And the main one, and actually have that list. You bear with me just a second. Hang on just a second, because that was, hold please. Because I know that I was actually looking at that earlier today.
That'd be good information to share, I think, just to help us get a stronger sense of who we're recruiting.
Yeah, that's I mean, the one I hear the most, quite honestly, Duncan, is a coffee shop. Coffee shop, bakery, those kind of things. Hang on, put my hands on this. Because we had a pretty robust discussion about this. I'll be able to put my hands on it. I'm gonna have to, I can send that back out because we came up with probably, if I'm remembering correctly, of 6 or 7 different items on that list. But I know coffee shop is the one I hear most from, people who are driving around, people who are stopping.
But asking people in Cornwall what they'd like is different than what are the businesses that are going to drive economic development. That's a totally different issue. So we're the Economic Development Commission. How are we deciding what are the kinds of businesses that we want to recruit that are going to drive economic development? Having a coffee shop doesn't drive economic development. It makes people happy. So
Okay. Well, like I said, we did have a discussion about this. I can't put my hands on it right this second. We did do some work with Mike Goman a couple years back on things that would drive development here. Restaurants were certainly at the top of that list. Having several places where you could eat, and then have places where you could do additional shopping that was more unique. Does anybody else have any ideas on this?
Well, just to say, I think it'd be good if we got all this information together in that we could all look at it and talk about it together as a commission. I'm still feeling a little behind the pace here and trying to understand what it is that we're trying to do.
Okay. So what I can do is I'll pull the list that we had brainstormed together. One of the other things we might want to do, Duncan, is, I mean, we could send out a Survey Monkey. We could post that in several different places and, get some input from, Cornwall people, if we'd like to do that. I'm trying to think of when, because anytime we have a town meeting or anything like that, it's very, there's always a purpose to that, so that it's not as easy to say, hey, take this survey. If anybody has thoughts on how we could collect that data. I mean, I could certainly stand at the farmer's market and have a survey. I've done weirder things before.
Well, I mean, I do the survey, I've done the survey for the last 25 years, standing in the shop on a regular basis. I think what is important for all of us on this committee too, is visit one another's entities. If we have open businesses, go visit them, have a dialogue. I think what this town needs is community building entities. Farmers markets are such. We have 2 of them. We have a local. We need food businesses that attract tourism, because tourism will not stay here if we don't have anything to keep them. Airbnbs are definitely a thing that has helped tourism. All of that. I mean, people here would like to see, and this is not just local people, this is visitors from nearby, from far away. Food is the #1 entity, and we don't have anything. And we can build on that, what comes then next. I mean, when I look at Falls Village, they've added that segment on, a cafe, and it attracts people. They used to have the Toy Maker Cafe. When that fell away, it was really not great for the town. So they have a replacement for that. That is a place where local people meet one another, meet new people coming in, create an experience for visitors. Why would they want to be here? Work opportunities for young people. I mean, I think that's one of the most important things. That's where you start. We all need to eat, after all.
Yeah, I mean, playing off the natural resources is certainly, I mean, we have the river, which attracts people. We have the Cornwall, now we have the electric bike, which attracts people. We have the outdoor sports, which is going to attract people, and to your point,
Trinity.
Yeah, and Trinity. We actually saw, there was a tour group that Trinity had done this past weekend. So we saw a whole glut of people going through here, pointing at things. I wasn't really sure who they were, and then I figured it out. Yeah, so I'll go back and look at Mike Goman's stuff and look at the food. I mean, we certainly have the traffic to support it. I mean, that was one of the things that Goman and New York had pointed out, that, at 128 alone, we have enough traffic. If we can pull from 7 and 128, then, we have more than enough traffic, for sure.
I do think it's worthwhile having another discussion on the topic. The way I agree with Duncan, the way we had that discussion, Duncan was not a part of it, but it was kind of like, what do we want? What would we enjoy? Rather than thinking about it strategically and asking a different question, which is, if we could design a town, what would we need, and what do we want? And what does economic development look like? And so I think, Duncan would be really great at leading something like that. And I don't know if he wants to, but if we're all agreed that we could take, take some time to do it, maybe we can have that discussion again. Because one of the differences between then and now is that we do have a few things that are showing some good success. And when we had that discussion, it was still very much up in the air.
Agreed. Well, just so you know, there's several other businesses eyeballing the spots we have left in town. So I can tell you that there's definitely businesses circling around. But if we
do we want
to
to talk about that? Do you know who they are? And can we be helpful to them?
I don't think they're ready to talk just yet. One is a very large business. One is a startup business. So obviously, having a few more anchors in town wouldn't be the worst thing on the planet either. And they've got plenty of capital. So it's having a few more businesses like that, it would obviously be advantageous for sure. Yeah, but let's have this conversation. Duncan, we can have a chat offline too, if you're open to that. And let's just start talking about, how we can really pull this data together, because I think Dee said it right. It's like, let's design the town in a way that is, we've got some economic drivers and, really think about not just what we want, but, what would benefit the town and benefit the town's people. I think that's really good.
This is Carolyn. I don't know if you can see me. Can you hear me?
Visitors are not allowed to speak. You can only observe, except during public comment. Okay. Any other new ideas from our group? Okay, go ahead.
So there was one thought, because of visiting those two kiosks that we have in town, because one side is just blank, and it is a great opportunity to perhaps put a banner there with the history of Cornwall, so that when visitors come in, they get something extra. And that's really not that difficult to produce. A couple of $100 perhaps. I've already talked with Jeremy Brecker, who did his historic blurb for the 149 Club passport, and he's more than willing to give that to the town, and then create an image and have a text there so that people become informed. I mean, what I remember from my travels as a kid in Germany, I mean, wherever you go, you get at least the sense of where you are, what the place was like maybe 100 years ago, and where you are now. And we don't really offer that to people. We have a historical society that is open from 10 till 3 on a Saturday. Elsewhere in the town where no one goes, really, Covered Bridge is really an attractive point. And I think creating an experience for someone, a deeper knowledge of where they've been, raising more curiosity, will also eventually, bring people back. Not everybody is into outdoor activities. Some people are more of the intellectual mindset. So, that could be something that we could work on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So does anybody else have any ideas? So if we've got a little time to think about it, but be thinking about some ideas. I'll actually send out an email to, there was a number of people were traveling, so they weren't able to be part of the meeting, but I know that they have some ideas. I did hear from Kate Ward about the bank and setting up the funds to be able to support new businesses and be able to get them, very low cost loans if they were interested in doing that, or grants. So that's something, we can work on, and Kate's going to report on that next time, which might, for someone who's, thinking about a business or has an interesting idea, if they could get some funding, they might be willing to do it. All right, so just do some thinking. I'll send out an email just to remind you guys to be doing some brainstorming on some things we can do, towards our mission. Any questions or any comments right now? Okay. So what we'll do is we'll be working on our budgeting. Bianca, if you can work with Bill and Harold and just find out, the other half of that. I've kind of penciled in 1,200 for the West Cornwall piece of it.
Mhm.
You know, I think, you know, you guys will be able to come back and, you know, we'll have more of a budget, a complete budget then.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I have a comment. And I think it's important to, I mean, part of what Duncan was asking, and maybe Jane, you know, what kinds of businesses are we looking for, or what are we looking for? And I think sometimes it's not always what you're looking for. We weren't specific, whatever that means, we, the town of Cornwall, wasn't specifically looking for a pottery business, but Jane comes along and the town is able to, or has in place, a situation that is inviting for that to take place. I think that's part of what we're trying to do, is to make something inviting for peoples who have things that already exist, or maybe they don't exist, but either way, things are in place in town to allow them to continue to grow or to start to grow. And that's what we're trying to create. It's not always about specifically what are we looking for. Well, that's a good idea, Duncan. That is a good idea to do that. I think sometimes you have to have fertile ground so that when something shows up, you're able to open the door and say, here we are, we're what you're looking for. Because you can go looking for things but they're not looking for, it doesn't work for some reason. I think you just have to, it's sort of when it's the same, you know, when opportunity knocks, you have to know to open the door. And I think sometimes that's the case, is creating a situation that is inviting for people to come to you.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, you know, when people see businesses, you know, when people walk down here and they see people, you know, like walking around getting an electric bike, you know, going over here, you know, looking into three guys going into Bianca's shop, you know, they you know, when people see people pulled over and walking around and with bags, you know, they'll stop. So businesses beget other businesses, you know, because it's a cute little place and people are looking for that kind of space. So there are a lot of people looking right now, and we don't have that many more spaces left for businesses until water and septic comes. And now you have, you know, more businesses, you know, space back here that would be available. And I
just want to remind people, sorry, can you hear me?
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I remind people, I mean, I think we're naturally enough thinking about the sort of business districts of Cornwall Bridge and West Cornwall, but Pat's comments Richard's comments made me feel sort of, just remind me that the kind of business that I've started here, which is in basically a residential type property, I think the more, you know, that there might be a lot more potential for many more similar type businesses, craft-based or artisan-based businesses that could be run from home-based businesses without any negative impact and with a lot of positive impact. And that if we can attract more of that kind of business to Cornwall, that helps build what Bianca's talking about, community, activity, fellow people to, you know, cooperate with as we are on this clay tour. So that we shouldn't think only in terms of business spaces available in town, because there's an awful lot of properties that would be suitable for the kind of thing I've got going over here.
Sure. No, totally agreed. You know, yeah, it totally depends on what kind of business you have. I mean, obviously, if you have an ice cream shop, you know, you're going to have to think about, you know, where that should be sited, where you're going to be most successful.
But if we could throw a wider net if we look to these kinds of possibilities too.
Yes.
The whole point of the zoning regulation update was that if you're a widget creator, widget producer, and you have 3 people working with you and you somehow make widgets from your barn, that Cornwall will be an inviting location for you to come and continue or start to make your widgets. I think that's really another whole aspect, just as you're saying, Jane, that it's not just Main Street. Main Street's critically important, but it's also all the streets. And if you have more people living, working, in shopping in town, then it'll all work together.
Great. Okay, we're at the end of our time.
Is there opportunity for public comment?
I will open it up for public comment for just a few minutes since we are at.
Is there opportunity for public comment? I'm sorry.
There will be an opportunity for public comment in just a moment. So I will give you just a minute because we're at our time limit and I actually don't have it on the agenda. So you have a minute or so. And Caroline, please identify yourself next time. If you
Sure,
don't.
my name is.
Okay.
Sure, my name is Carolyn,
Caroline.
and I just like to.
Caroline, next time, if you're a guest, you must have your name on the screen or you won't be allowed to stay in the meeting.
I'm calling in from the phone, so you can't have an.
Okay, you have to be able to identify yourself.
Sorry, I'm calling in.
If you are going to be.
I'm sorry, I'm calling in, so I can't give.
Okay, you have to be able to identify yourself.
Can you please
So
stop muting me so I can
if
speak?
you stop talking, I would be happy to stop muting you. You have to identify yourself when you come into the meeting. If you don't.
That's what I'm doing. I'm on the phone, so I can't identify myself on the screen.
You have been.
Are you there?
Okay, you have been in this meeting.
So-
So when you come into the meeting, you have to identify yourself immediately. You have 1 minute. Go
Okay,
ahead,
but
Caroline.
I was muted. So my name is Carolyn Nastro, and to speak to Richard's point, it would be nice that if you want to have a kind of an inviting atmosphere, it would be nice when people come to speak at the meeting from the public about a business idea that they have and whether it's something that could be feasible in town. It would be nice to actually be given an opportunity to speak. I mean, I think the first step is to welcome the public and get those ideas. You'll never
I
achieve
hope you'll
anything
get to your
if you
point,
mute
Caroline,
someone.
because you're using your time.
Well, I only have a minute, so I can't really speak about my idea. And this place seems so uninviting that I wouldn't want to actually propose it. But I just wanted to say, to speak to Richard's idea, it would be nice if you would be inviting and allow people to speak when they're attending a meeting and spending the time to listen to it and think about ideas of how to kind of bring business and new ideas to Cornwall.
Great.
But thank you. I've gotten a sense of how it is. Thank you.
You're
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we're at 8:32. So we will conclude our meeting. May I get a motion to end our meeting, please?
Motion.
Okay, Arnon, second.
Second.
Okay, Jane, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, our next meeting is October 26th at 7:30 p.m. Please do bring your ideas and your budget, even if you have a rough budget associated with it. If you'd like to do that, that would be great. If you have any questions or anything in the meantime, or you have anything you want to talk about, feel free to reach out to me. You guys know how to get a hold of me. All right. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night.